That is the sound of a distracted, divided, and dead American until they hear. Battle for freedom, triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Good morning, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio, and I'm glad that you're listening in and you are following me here as we are on Mojo 50 Radio, trying to make a difference, trying to change the world one heartbeat at a time. Again, my name is Watson Prunier. I'm a host from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio. And if you're listening and you just finished listening to possibly, Room 13, if you were listening live on iHeartRadio, you probably just finished listening to Room 13. There's a lot of other different shows you can follow and pay attention to. They are available to you on available to you on Mojo 50 Radio. And let's see why in the world we're getting so low. How low can you go? Oh, Lord Jesus. And I see exactly why it's going on here. I'm your host, Watson Prunier, and I'm killing some things here that are really making me mad. Again, trying to make certain that you can hear me and that we can get this show on the lovely road. Trying to wake up, still just work has been killing me right around the clock, trying to get things done here, and I'm trying to get you guys to hear me. So, round the clock, working like there's no tomorrow. I'm exhausted as all get out, and this thing is driving me up the wall. And I don't know why this is driving me up the wall that you can't hear me. So, those of you who are following, good morning. Battle4Freedom.com. Yes, well, the radio side's not working the way it needs to, and I don't know why. So as we sit here talking about the fear factor and systemic hoaxes quite not white, systemic hoaxes quite not white, let's take a listen to some amazing things. This is not a hoax. This is American Pride Roasters Coffee. That's it. I've hit the snooze button a dozen times, and now I have to finally get going. But I'm not going to do this day right if I don't start it off with a cup of American Pride Roasters Coffee, the official coffee of Mojo 50 Radio. But I'm not going to lie to you. They have a wide variety of blends, but I'm leaning towards the one that's named after me, Watson's White Chocolate Caramel. You know what? It sounds as good as those words that just rolled off of my mouth. Listen, get it today, AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you, and you want Watson's White Chocolate Caramel blend to start your day off. Join American Pride Roasters Coffee and Mojo 50 Radio, and most important, Battle for Freedom, as we celebrate the best coffee in the nation. American Pride Roasters. Yes, American Pride Roasters Coffee. Share it with as many people as you possibly can. And also pray for me, because I'll probably be calling Dr. Anthony Malchiotti so I can get some New Life Holistic cleaning and cleansing going on. Does your mind seem like it often shuts down before it even starts? Sounds like you need to detox to improve your health in body, mind, and spirit. I'd like to tell you about New Life Holistic. It is an amazing therapy process that uses neurofeedback and biofeedback for many issues that ails everyone. New Life's method and approach to health, balance, energy, and vitality is what sets it apart from anything you have experienced ever before. Call 1-833-4-BIO-LIFE and tell them Watson from Battle for Freedom has sent you. One more thing. Give them the code MOJO50 and save $50 off of your first session. The consult is free. New Life Holistic. Yes, New Life Holistic. Tell Dr. Malchiotti, pray for Watson so he doesn't lose his mind up in here. If you want to interact, go to facebook.com/Mojo50 Radio, and I'll appreciate every last one of you who are sharing with this. So today I talked to you about this whole idea of fear factor, or is it fear fact or? The reason why I share this is because there's a lot of there's this consistent level of keeping everyone in fear. uh, the news as we everything is so climactic that we have to be concerned and it's perilous, and if we don't deal with this stuff at this particular time, lives can be destroyed, lives can come to an end if we don't put an end to it. One of the ones that really gets me is you constantly have people sending out these lies of the fear of you remember when Trump was elected president, and there was this constant fear that as a black person, and this is Black history, so I guess it's good to talk about this. If I'm gonna make a statement about Black history, I guess I might as well do it now. Is the whole idea that oh, as a black person, I need to be afraid because Donald Trump is in office, and black people should not feel safe anymore. So we had constant stories of people feeling in fear, people feeling like they never. I mean, honestly, we have created this culture where fear is dominant in so many other different ways that people never get a chance to live sensibly. People never get a chance to be at peace because of the fact that they're being told the white people hate you, men hate you, Americans hate you, Republicans hate you, Trump hates you. You have this constant thing, and honestly, it flips on the other side too, because we say the same exact thing. Liberals hate you, Democrats hate you, feminists hate you, sexists hate you, and we constantly have this fear fact. Or is there more to the story? One of the ones that I'm looking at here was here you have the student was not a victim for eating wild black. See, we have this thing here in Indiana, and I'm sure it's around the country as well, and around the world, that they say you get a DWB, driving while black. And the idea that if you're black and you drive through an affluent neighborhood that's predominantly white and predominantly rich, and you show up being black in this neighborhood, even if you're driving a Mercedes, you will be pulled over. It's this fear thing that's constantly given to black people so they can always be a victim in a situation where they don't want to move beyond recognizing if you say that God is for you, if you say that you're more than a conqueror, if you say that God works out all things together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose, then why are we stopped? Why do we continue to cry and whine about being unfairly treated? There's only one person who has the right to claim that he was unfairly treated, and that was Christ. Jesus, the only innocent person penalized and tortured, falsely accused, and he wasn't wrong. He did nothing wrong. Instead, he took on the blame meant for us. But here it is, this eating while black at an $80,000 Smith College, and made up details that ruined the lives of 4 campus workers and led to controversial anti-bias training that an employee resigned over. Owumu Kanute claimed she was targeted in July of 2018 for eating while black. Kunute was a student at the $80,000 a year all-women Smith College. She went to empty cafeteria, which was reserved for summer school. Kunute said she was seen by a janitor who reported someone in the closed canteen. He called security, and as he was told to do, and another janitor arrived to speak to her. That night, Kunute said on Facebook that she was made unwelcome at the school. She said that the cafe worker was racist for informing her the room was closed. And in October 2018, independent investigators cleared all those involved. Yet the problem was that the cafe worker who suffers from lupus was hospitalized with stress. A janitor who was not present during the incident was forced from his job, and another teacher quit after forced seminars about unconscious bias. Unconscious bias. Because someone has to always live in fear that if you look at me wrong, if you don't look at me the right way, you have no idea what's working through that mind of the individual, unless they literally have a sign saying, if they have like Flavor Flav had a clock around his neck, if that person had a mirror around their neck and basically said, look, the person, and they had a sign above the mirror saying, the person in this mirror is a dog, and you look in the mirror and then you see that you're the dog, unless they go that far to signify I'm talking about you, if there's no streaming banners, if there's no plane flying with banners with your name on it, if there's no streaming banners, if there's no paint on their car saying I hate black people, just because they're white doesn't mean that they hate you. Lives are destroyed in this idea of keeping people in fear because because people are in fear, staying in fear because of a lie and a manipulation of the truth, a manipulation of the fact that, guess what, you claimed racism. A lot of these individuals, what was another gentleman who had I forgot, what was this, in Minneapolis? He had himself it was a Jeep Cherokee. He spray painted and all kinds of racist things all over. Couldn't find it was him. People breaking into their homes, people destroying their property, people destroying their things. Come to find out, it was the victim who actually perpetuated the racism. But you know what? The collateral damage is that many people are getting these yes, Lisa, and no, Carrie, Coca-Cola and everything like that, being too white. We're going over hill trying to basically combat systemic, and we're going over the hill to basically combat systemic hoaxes that are quite not white, or better pronounced, Raquel Lee from Room 13, white nonsense. White, you have to put H in front of it. But here it is that you see this, and this is so annoying because of the fact that over and over and over again, everyone has to be afraid. Like even now, I'm afraid because Tim jumps in. He's a white man saying good morning to this black bald cowboy. I'm afraid. Oh, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. And the lives that are lost, the lives that are destroyed because of the fact that we keep pushing this narrative of lives being destroyed. And I tell you that God is not happy, and neither should any of us. You have people pushing this narrative that black people have a right to be afraid, and I'm sitting here thinking anybody who isn't black has a right to be afraid. What next? What did I do next? When do I get accused of doing something that's because I'm white, I'm wrong? I'm just like, come on now. This is just insane. Why in the world? And it gets better. Here it comes. Obama's back on the scene. Obama calls for reparations for black Americans because the wealth of this country was built on the backs of slaves. But he says he couldn't get it done as president due to the politics of white resistance. The politics of white resistance is what prevented former President Barack Obama from getting reparations done. And to that, I say hogwash. Hogwash. You're telling me that in 2009, when you got Obamacare rammed down our throats, you could have gotten reparations done in that first year. All of that stuff could have been done. You've been clamoring about reparations for so long. Reparations, Obamacare, high taxes, anti-gun legislation, all that stuff could have been done in the first 2 years before the Tea Party took over. All of it could have been done. So to say white resistance is what preventing you from doing it is the biggest lie, because you're saying to black people, I tried, when you made no attempts to do it. It's funny because of the fact that if you look at this during his 2008 presidential campaign, Obama appeared to oppose reparations. So how in the world can you attack or try and fix reparations with white resistance if you showed resistance to it when you were running for office in the first place? See, the idea of fear, fact, or. It's the idea that is it a fact or was there another story. You have to sit here and watch how these people keep manipulating and changing the data so as to push us and get us really, really screwed over. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Carrie says, could you imagine? Could you imagine if Coke said to black employees to be less black? This is ridiculous. This idea that white ain't right is so wrong. And what happens is so anything white, anything attributed to white, success, money, leadership, power, corporations, all wrong. Why? You know, because this is what I hate about this. What I really hate about this is how many black folk yell, yellow, black, what was it? Yellow, red, yellow, black, or white. We are all precious in his sight. That was the war cry, even during the civil rights, the second civil rights movements in the 50s and 60s. So how is it that we went from yellow, red, yellow, black, or white, we're all precious in his sight, and now all of a sudden white is wrong. White is no longer precious in the sight of God because white took away from God what was meant for everyone else. Do you see how critical race theory, woke theology, social justice movement has crept in and destroyed the narrative of the gospel message? So sad. It is so stinking sad. When are we? Yeah, Carolyn. There's three sides to every story: my story, your story, and the real story. Amen. Fear, fact, or. This is so, and Obama coming back on the scene to start continuing perpetuating this language for needing reparations. Sit down. Sit down. Be quiet. Because the more and more they continue to perpetuate this lie, this nonsense, this foolishness, it's going to come back and it's going to destroy so many more lives. I got to go back to the other thing about from the university. This woman lied 3 years ago saying that there was this racism. People lost their jobs. See, no one wants to deal with the collateral damage. See, and that's the problem I struggle with many political or social justice movements that are willing to embrace. It's not just social justice movement. Progressivism is willing to push a narrative regardless of the collateral damage. And it even goes beyond the political persuasion as well. Even has it in the science of medicine, the double blind studies, where people who will be suffering a major illness, whether it's cancer, whether it's diabetes, whether it's whatever it is a fatal disease that's impacting individuals. So they go through a double-blind study to basically see whether or not this medication is going to work. So some people are actually given the medication, and some people are given them a placebo, hoping that their mind will make them feel like they're getting better, while that medicine that actually could be healing them is doing nothing for them. And these people are wasting away, hoping to get better, and they never will, because the science says there's going to be collateral damage to our study to make certain that our medicine works. And so as collateral damages are made because of your mission to make everybody woke, lives are destroyed. Lives are destroyed. Here's another one that's really crazy. I saw this yesterday, and this was sent to me. I think it was Malchiori from New Life Holistic. You want to talk about fear factor. Entire Federal Reserve payment crash. So wait, entire Federal Reserve payment system crashes due to operational error, freezing $3 trillion in daily transactions, including paychecks, tax refunds, and bill payments. All Federal Reserve settlement services suffered disruptions on Wednesday. The key banking system were offline for more than 3 hours. Feds say that the massive outage was caused by an operational error. Systems affected form the backbone of U.S. banking and the financial sector. Fedwire is used by banks to transfer an average of $33.3 trillion. No, just three, not 30. $3.3 trillion every day. And Fed ACH handles smaller transactions such as paychecks and tax refunds. You want to talk about fear. You want to talk about the whole idea of the economy. See, and you wonder, was this a setup for something more? Because I think that you're going to have a few more problems. I wonder if they're going to tell us exactly what this operational error was that affected so many billions or trillions of dollars. See, you have to figure out what happened here, because was it really an operational error or an operational exercise? You have to understand the bill is about to come due in reference to us overspending at the government level and even at the private level. You have to understand that the bill is about to come due in terms of how we have been reckless and careless with our money, and the economy cannot sustain its appearance of success. And I'm not lying to you. As much as I was impressed to see the Dow Jones rise even under former President Donald J. Trump, I had major reservations about how high the Dow was climbing and how the markets were faring, because of the fact that they were doing the same thing, manipulating the numbers, playing games with the numbers and the markets, even during Barack Obama's administration. The bill is about to come due. We keep spending billions and trillions of dollars, and we keep thinking that that bill is not going to come due. If you haven't done this, this is not about fear. This is about facts. This is about fact. I keep telling everyone about Dave Ramsey's plan, about Total Money Makeover, about Financial Peace University, about getting out of debt, because the fastest way to richness is having little to no debt. To dwindle down your debt, because what's about to come is going to be horrific, more than you can ever imagine. You have high balances on your credit cards. Get them paid off. Don't cancel your vacations but lockdown has stressed me out. Cancel your vacations and get your bills paid off now. It will be far worse for you, because of the fact that these computer systems, people are hoping that these computer systems will forget the debts and the bills and the balances of what they owe. But all that stuff will be printed off in mass fashion to be ready to give you an account of what you owe when the system comes back up. And the last place that you want to be indebted to is the federal government. The state government, the federal government, the local government. Get out of debt. This isn't a fear thing. No. It's a fact. It's a fact. The Bible says the borrower is a slave to the lender. This is the idea of what I've been telling you about Dave Ramsey and getting out of debt is not a hoax. It's not a lie. It is a means of getting you free, so you don't have to worry about constantly looking over your shoulder as to is this the moment I'm going to lose my car? Is this the moment I'm going to lose my house? Is this the moment I'm going to lose all that matters to me? Because trust me, I've been there. I bought a car when I was 22 years old. I had no business buying. I had no business buying a brand new car at 22 years of age. And come to find out, my car payment was $325 a month as I'm sitting there waiting tables, and my car insurance was even more than that. Listen, I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle4Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio. Let's go to a break, and I will talk to you, amazing people, on the flip side. Warning: the next 2 minutes will be without music. Why? Because someone in a third world country decided to copyright open source, or basically royalty free music. Right now, you would probably be listening to soothed sounds of elevator music. But no, I got a warning that that music is copywritten. So you will have to listen to my voice for the next minute and 30 seconds. Why? Because I haven't come up with something unique for you to listen to. Now, in this time, while you've been mesmerized by my voice, I hope you have taken the advantage to go make yourself another pot of American Pride Roasters coffee, or go to the potty break, or take a potty break. Because when we get back, I will keep you enraptured with my wit and my silliness. And I hope that your bladder will be forgiving to you if you do not go now. 1 minute left. That's how much time you have to quickly use the restroom and wash your hands. Remember, 20 seconds for scrubbing to make certain that you get rid of the Rona and anything else that could make you sick. Now, it's about 40 seconds left, and I still have the feeling that you're not going anywhere because you just want to hear what I'm going to say. If you soil yourself, it's your fault. I gave you the opportunity. Less than 30 seconds left. Now you've lost the proper window of washing your hands after using the restroom. What are you going to do now? Are you just going to sit there and wait to hear what I have to say? Guess what? Almost 10 seconds away. Are you really prepared to go the distance? Well, I really appreciate your tenacity. Battle for Freedom is back now. Hey everyone, that's Watson Fredier from Battle for Freedom and Mojo 50 Radio, and I love this Indiana Fredier. That's really hilarious, scary. Thank you very much. My website, battle4freedom.com, but I also want you to go to mojo50.com. Why? Because that's how you get a chance to hear me. Right now, Mojo 50 Radio. Guess what we're getting? We have a news show airing this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The name escapes me, but I will tell you before the end of the program. Sorry, I'm having a junior moment. Hey, listen, I'm not 50 yet, so by the time, and that'll be next month, and once I hit 50, then I can have my senior moments. But until then, I still have junior moments. So, one of the things that we want to make sure that you prepare for is, like, as the weather's getting warmer and you can't use outside as your means of keeping things cool any longer, you're going to need a cat cooler. Get one now.
When the world is going to hell in a handbasket, you need rugged. You need strong. You need durable. You need cat coolers. These are the best coolers on the market in 27, 55, and 88 quart. Go to catcoolers.com and give them the code Watson to save 10% on your purchase. Don't settle for those substandard containers that melt, leak, and destroy your memorable moments. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. Cat coolers.
Yes, cat coolers. And again, so tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. So here's the name of the show that I want you to hear on this. It's actually called The Breakdown with Aaron Barker. It's a fast-paced, dynamic talk radio that is full of life, eternal life that is, proclaiming the good news of Jesus Christ and his power to save sinners. Each episode is chock full of proclaiming the sovereignty of Jesus Christ in every aspect of life. This starting this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can't go wrong on Mojo 50 Radio. This network is amazing. Has a lot of different voices that you can listen to, and of course, I would probably have a little bit bias towards this show because there's a key phrase in his tagline, and it's the sovereignty of God. The sovereignty of God is what we lean on instead of being in fear? Are there times to be intimidated? Are there times to be concerned? Are there times to be worried? Yes, I'm not gonna condemn you for ever having fear. I'm not gonna condemn you for ever being worried or scared or concerned, because all of us have those, even myself included. We all have those moments where fear will take over. The question is whether or not we allow that fear to be a fact, or do we trust that God will be the one who delivers us through whatever concerns that we may have? Okay. As we sit here, I'm not going to do that one. That one is dumb. I'm not going to talk about CNN anchors who insult Tiger Woods. But this was one actually that did kind of concern me, because of the fact that I'm like, okay, where are you going with this, Bibi? There's a lot of decisions that Bibi Netanyahu's been making. Israel passes law allowing names and phone numbers of anyone who has not been vaccinated to be shared by the government. A new law allows the government to share the identities of those not vaccinated. The move has raising privacy concerns for those opting out of inoculation. More than a third of Israel's population has been fully vaccinated with 2 jabs, and Israel has rolled out the world's quickest immunization program against COVID. Now, this is really scary because of the fact that, again, Israel is our sister nation. We're supposed to lift them up, and we're supposed to, encourage them in whatever they're doing. But, Bibi, what are you doing here? What are you guys doing here? Because of the fact that you live in fear was so long that you have allowed yourself to now create this way of keeping people in fear. So that, so who needs a Karen now when the federal government will have your data on whether or not you have been vaccinated? And understand, this is not fear. This is fact. The registration card, the COVID cards, is basically the same of basically having a database of those who have chosen not to get vaccinated. And this is so sad. This is so sad. I don't think this is a good idea from Netanyahu, that they're going to choose to go after people who have chosen not to get their vaccine shots. This is not cool. This is not cool at all. Oh, Lord, please help us. Lord, please help us, because of the fact I think this is only going to get worse. And that's going to affect our neighbor. It's going to affect our freedoms and so much more. Here's, again, back on the issue of fear and on COVID. So is this why London's COVID-19 rates are so high? A fifth of South Londoners live with multiple illnesses, which increase their risk of coronavirus, a study warns. King's College London researchers analyzed more than 800,000 patient records, found 21% of all residents have at least 2 pre-existing health. What? Pre-existing health conditions. Isn't that what we were talking about last year when they kept raising the number of people dying from COVID, but no one wanted to talk about the pre-existing health condition? A man gets impaled by a truck. He died from COVID. Woman falls out of a building. She died from COVID. Woman is 109 years old. She died from COVID. And now they're developing this language now where COVID isn't the key to people dying. They're talking about pre-existing multiple conditions. But the reason why I brought up this study, and the reason why I'm telling you about this, is because the area in which they're doing this study is called Lambeth in London, where you find out that 40% of the population, or almost 40% of the population, are white, but the other are minorities. So Amy says that there may be a 3 booster, maybe 3 booster for vaccine. Alrighty then. No, thank you. No way, Jose. I can say Jose because I said white. Get off my back. Oh my God, Lord Jesus, please help us. So between Israel and their rules and London conveniently having a weird number of people still infected running through their town. I thought that was going to be mandatory out there, people getting their vaccine shots. I just love this. I love this. This only continues to get worse in reference to this only continues to get worse in terms of fear. Here's one. I want to go over this one because this one kind of annoys me because this isn't the only issue where they chose to be silent on this. So here it is. We run into a situation where Chris Cuomo even fails to mention explosive sexual harassment claims against Governor brother Andrew, as ABC, CBS, NBC, and MSNBC also join in the cover-up. Earlier on Wednesday, Lindsey Boylan shared that while she worked in Cuomo's administration, he suggested that they play poker and kissed her without consent. See, here is where I'm kind of really frustrated with this, and rightly everyone should be, because the Me Too movement, that you have to believe every woman. We didn't want to believe Tara Reid, victim of Joe Biden, and now we're not going to believe Lindsey Boylan, victim of Governor Cuomo, who also lied about the number of people who died in the nursing homes in New York. You see how everything was put on Donald Trump, that it's his fault that we had 200, 300, 400,000 people dead because he didn't respond in enough time. Now we're coming to find out that, hey, can we really put all those lives on Donald Trump, or are we going to actually put the blame on the people rightly accused? And here we have another sexual misconduct, another sexual allegation that will be ignored because the target of the allegation is neither conservative nor Trump nor anyone who goes against progressive ideology. Very, very sad. Yes, Carolyn, they pick and they choose. James 2:8, I believe James 2:8 or 2:9 talks about the whole idea that God is not a God of partiality. God is not a God of partiality. He does not pick and choose the way that we do. When God does pick and choose, it is always right. It is always correct. God chooses whoever he wants. Does it mean that he favors one group of people over another one, or is it his desire to bless whomever he desires? Not showing favoritism, but showing grace, kindness, and mercy. But in the news, that's supposed to be impartial, that's supposed to sit here and give you all the data that matters most, we're going to pick and choose what comes out. This is the second thing in less than 2 weeks that condemns the actions of Governor Cuomo. And Chris Cuomo, who attacked Trump supporters, who attacked Trump, who attacked anything conservative, is tight-lipped like the rest of mainstream media. This is very very, very sad. This is very, very sad because the fact that we spent 4 years trying to get rid of a president, and even now in New York, they're talking about the idea of the Supreme Courts allowing Trump's taxes to be continually reviewed. That his taxes have to be exposed. But they don't want to sit here and talk about Biden's laptop. They don't want to talk about Governor Cuomo's in his direct involvement in the deaths of thousands of senior citizens in caregiving facilities, and multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. God's gonna judge us on this one here, folks. And this is not a fear factor. It's fact. It's going to be fact. Oh, Lord Jesus, please help us, because of the fact that this is just the beginning. Here was one too that this goes into what we were talking about earlier. Yes, and it is a witch hunt, Amy. Can you imagine what would the media have done to JFK now? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. JFK would probably be dragged. He would probably be dragged down Broadway. They'd break glass. They break glass bottles, throw it down on the ground, filled with viruses and diseases, and they would drag JFK down. They would drag him down the road and have him killed. They'd have him die a painful, slow death if they had the chance to do so. Lord help us. This is the reason why you want God being the judge and not us. Because God doesn't discriminate on who needs to be judged. But you know what? Who does discriminate? The New York Times, as well as the Coca-Cola. New York Times vows to boast leadership roles of Black and Latino staff members by 50% and admits it's a difficult place to work in the new report after a string of controversies, including the resignation of a veteran reporter who used a racial slur. So now the Times is playing a part in this foolery called woke theology, called wokeness, and ending the oppression of white people. If you have Black people represent 13% of the population, but that's the global population of the United States of America. The numbers may vary from state to state, but to sit there and try and make every company reflective of a 13% population, and if you run into a city where there are more Black people than ever, to say that that is a standard of making your company woke is foolery. Foolery. I sat there, I watched an interesting thing. I watched a very interesting thing yesterday where there was a roast of Justin Bieber. On the stage, you had Snoop Dogg, Shaq, Martha. I mean, you should have watched this. You should have watched this roast of Justin Bieber. You had Snoop Dogg, Martha Stewart, you had Shaq, you had Ludacris, and you had a few other individuals on the stage, and you actually had these men basically saying, Martha Stewart, I want to F you. On stage. In front of thousands of people, and they kept laughing. At one point, she sat there looking like, dang, that's a little bit rough. And I'm sitting here thinking, you said we had to fear Donald Trump and his sexism, and you in Hollywood are promoting this idea that it's okay to make these statements against women that would get the rest of us fired, thrown in jail for the rest of our lives. Fear factor? Or the fact that if you're in Hollywood, if you're an elitist, you can say and do these things. Even Snoop Dogg dropping the N-word there with no problem, and everybody sitting there laughing. Sexual harassment to its core, Amy. Sexual harassment. I mean, I sit there, I watched this. There were some funny things in the roast, about Justin Bieber and the other people who were on there on the stage. Well, this whole idea that even Justin Bieber started participating in saying some of these things that were just downright raunchy and raw. And I'm sitting here thinking, how dare you hold any conservative to a standard of being respectful to women when you sat there and you destroyed Martha Stewart on stage? They took roasting to a whole nother level. If Trump, if Pence, if Governor Holcomb here, if any conservative would have said what came out of the mouths of the people during that roast last night that I watched, they would never have a career in Hollywood ever again. Just alone on what they were saying to Martha Stewart alone. I sat there and I watched you talk about sexual harassment, putting an end to the Me Too movement, and you had men and women sitting there laughing in the audience about this stuff here. And you saying, and it was a bunch of white people, liberals, celebrating language that is not becoming of human beings. I understand roasting. Hey, listen, if you on Mojo 5 Radio, you'll get roasted. You'll get roasted. Okay? They will roast you on this network. They will have fun. But when you listen to the language of what we say, of what we do when we say and we enjoy ourselves in this First Amendment right, it does not in any way come to the point of what I heard last night. I would tell you not to listen to it, but you really need to see the expression on Martha Stewart as she sits there as the only woman on stage with nine other, I think 8 or 9 other men. And she uncomfortably sat there watching this language unfold. You have to understand, Amy, the reason why some blacks think it's okay to call each other the N-word because it's pure ignorance. See, here's the language that's basically being used in that. As people are feared of nooses, as people are feared of systemic racism, this is all a systemic hoax. Why? Because they basically say we own the word. Yeah, we can use the N-word because we own it. It's our word. We appropriate it, and we can say it to another with affectionate love as we sit there referring to one another. Negro, please. Negro, please. Listen, if it's and see, and the crazy part about it is that they will turn around, they will turn around and basically sit there and be angry, saying you can't say the N-word, but they'll drop CR. They'll say the saltine word all day long, knowing the connotations that comes with it. And if you understand, if they say the saltine word, they could say it all day long, not fearing any consequences of anyone coming out against them, because it is wrong. It's wrong, Amy. It is. It's classic hypocrisy, double standards, and as the Word of God says, double-mindedness. And so, what is it? A double-minded man or woman are unstable in all their ways. But hey, let's hey, if you use a racial slur, we're getting rid of you. Unless you are a liberal. Who is it? What is his name? White comedian, talk show host, has used he's used the N-word at least 2 or 3 times now. And the first time he was confronted by, was it Ice Cube? Who was Ice Cube or Ice-T? I think Ice-T confronted him. Bill Barr. Bill Barr said the N-word 3 times. He still has a job. Is it? Are we fearing white people using this language? He was told multiple times, you can't say it, and he keeps saying it. And guess here's the crazy part about it is that black folk still keep watching them, even though they know he does not respect them. I loved how many people told me, Donald Trump don't like you. He can't stand you because you black. And they keep following these white stars that keep saying the N-word with factual evidence, and they don't care. Don't tell me that you're mad about the words of the N-word being said by white people. Don't tell me that you're worried about systemic racism. You're supporting systemic racists and systemic sexists. Oh my goodness, this drives me up the wall. Let's move to something. Let's move to something more interesting. As I'm sure this is something that really, I don't think this is fear. I think this is going to be a fact thing that I learned today. And what you're having is a lot of people getting angry with how badly, this is not the one I want. Come on. My system doesn't always play nice with me. I'm a computer person, and the thing decides that it wants to play games with me. But I will defeat it. I will. Do you suffer from Zoom fatigue? Stanford professor reveals 4 reasons, including staring at yourself and the lack of mobility, to explain why hours of video conferencing results in exhaustion. Zoom fatigue describes the exhaustion people feel from video conferencing. The term began circulating after the coronavirus pandemic took hold. A Stanford professor determined 4 reasons why they feel this way. Will you give me the 4 reasons? Probably not. I'll give you the link to the article so you can see exactly why people are feeling exhausted from this. I said, but I was looking at this thing about the mentioning that you looking at yourself could be tiring. If that's the case, why isn't that everyone who constantly puts pictures of themselves, their selfies out there, why aren't they in a coma? I mean, seriously, if looking at yourself all the time, all day long through meetings is exhausting, then why is it that people who take selfies are not in a, a coma? I'm sorry. I'm on little sleep again. This is not a good week for sleeping me. A lot of work, a lot of hours around the work. As soon as I'm done here, I got to drive into work for a brief moment, get some things done, and come right back. So, oh my goodness, I laugh at this. I need to end this off on a better note because the fact that the fear factor is driving me crazy. It's increasing my insanity factor by tenfold. Because I'm sorry, this whole idea, folks. This whole idea of them constantly keep us in fear. Oh, here was another one where they're creating a digital second Earth so that they can predict what's going on with natural disasters. They're trying to create this second digital Earth to figure out how we can better prepare ourselves from natural disasters and put man's presence and almost all these different things. I'm like, you're spending all this money on trying to prevent something, and I'm telling you, you spend more money on the people who are struggling that you say you care about instead of trying to prevent something that you have no control over. This is the thing about it. People are expecting to try and control the outcome of society, the outcome of nature, and you can't. God has determined how things will be, but we keep going out of our way to overcome that. So I'm going to move to something. I'm going to move to something really. This is going to be very interesting. I'm intrigued, but then I yawn at it at the same time because I'm trying to figure out how do they really expect to get anything done here when is this really adding to making everyone's life easier, or is it just a lot of showboating? This is going to actually be considered my attitude of gratitude because I'm going to say my appreciation for people trying to be innovative, and I'll recognize it and I'll give them props where I do. The attitude of gratitude is me usually trying to close off the program with me on a nice note where I will share. If you send a message to me, send an email me your story, b4faog@gmail.com. Why? Because of the fact that I want you to tell me a story. As if things are so dark, as things are so bleak, as we deal with systemic racism, as we deal with being white as wrong, as we deal with issues of sexism and politics and all these other different things. Uh, I've been encouraged, and it's been a great idea. I don't always do it, but I love trying to end the show off on a positive note. So please send me a story, and then I will turn around and share it with people during the broadcast because it can hopefully brighten their day, my day, and so many more lives. But I saw this was really interesting. It was by Apple, and this is a new move that Apple wants to do. So in the 2020 lineup, what Apple's wanting to do is they are looking at providing multiple colors. Could Apple unveil its 2020? What Apple could unveil its 2021 iMac in 5 different colors, inspired by the tech giant's iconic 1998 bulbous computer that saved it from bankruptcy. So they're saying that it looks like that Apple can start sharing these computers in different colors because of the fact that maybe people are they're tired of the sterilized look that they've had, this one phase look, this one color. Then the only way that you can make a different color was to buy different skins that you could throw on top of the laptop to have a different experience. If that's the case, does this mean that we could prayerfully be looking at Facebook opening up and doing like what we were able to do with MySpace, where you can make the most gaudy looking site, and people come to your site, suffer some kind of delirium looking at your page on MySpace, but still you had that freedom to design and make things look the way you want. You have I'm wondering if even this dark mode that they're trying to offer in a lot of systems and programs and things like that, or is it really geared to energy saving, or actually is it part of the woke theology stuff as well too? But no, hey, listen, Apple come up with something innovative. I don't know what changing the color of your machines are really going to do. Maybe a little bit more color, a little bit more flair, and everything will make everybody a little bit more happy and less uptight. I don't know. Either way, I do know this: Brad Staggs and Daily Mojo is coming up next on Mojo Fiber Radio. You'd be able to listen to some craziness and probably someone with a little bit more thought to what they have to say. Brad Staggs and Daily Mojo, and so many more shows are available to you on Mojo Fiber Radio. If you go to mojo50.com, click the schedule button and find out what voices you can listen to. And also, give Aaron Barker, give him a chance, an opportunity. He comes on and he airs this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, telling you about the sovereignty of God. And for now, me, Watson Prunier, I'm signing out. God bless everyone. Take care, be safe, and make a difference.